Welcome everyone to Microsoft Dynamics Weekly. I'm your host, Noah Mosley, and a little bit different format today. Whereas I usually post these podcasts early Monday mornings, I'm rolling these out before Monday as we have a conference coming up next week in Chicago for our Dynamics user group. It's their big annual DynamicsCon conference, and the next several podcasts I'm releasing feature speakers from that conference. For this next discussion, I have Stephanie Clark with us. Stephanie is with Elliott Clark Consulting. Stephanie, how are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
Doing fine. I am dialing in from, we're both in Florida. So I'm in the Panhandle, Pensacola, and Stephanie is over on the, are you on the Atlantic coast?
We are. Yeah, we're Ormond Beach, which is just north of Daytona. When the Daytona 500 is going, we can hear it from our house.
Oh, awesome. I haven't been to that, but I'll have to make a trip one day.
I've never gone
And
out
even
there.
though we're, yeah, even though we are from the same state, we are different time zones. All the Panhandle is 1 hour behind uh, Eastern. So everybody I get always thinks, "Oh, you're from Florida, you're Eastern time zone." No, I'm an hour behind.
I forgot that as well. Until you just said that. Yep, different time zones.
All right, you have two sessions next week at DynamicsCon. We'll start off with the first one and talk about it, and then we'll jump to that on Friday. But the one I've got on my screen is for Thursday on the 15th. Everybody, this is for next week now. It's coming up very fast. You are starting that one off at 8:30 in the morning. It's a 1 hour session, and the title of it is Mission Critical: Keys to Successful Inventory Costing in BC. And it's a solo presentation all by yourself there. Have you done this one before?
Done this one before. Back in a couple of months ago, there was an online, gosh, I'm gonna forget what it was called, but it was like D365 week, and they had different products and different sessions. And I did one very similar to this, and it's going to follow that same sort of uh, helpful hints kind of feel to it.
Good, awesome. Well, so everybody who's attending DynamicsCon, this is a great chance for you to hear what Stephanie has planned for this session. So, Stephanie, what's your highlights from this topic?
So I've been in the Dynamics channel with Nav before BC. And so I kind of started my career on inventory costing. And so I do feel like I'm a bit of an expert in this one. So
Awesome.
yeah, costing in Business Central is a little bit tough. It's a little different, but once you kind of understand what those nuances are, it's a really strong costing engine and it does a lot of good things. So in this session, we're going to talk about those things to start off the right way so folks don't make mistakes. It's meant to be a beginner session. So if you're brand new to Business Central or you're just trying to figure out inventory, this should help you through. We'll go through a number of things on how to properly set up the posting groups, how to go through accruals, how to close, all of those kind of key things that if you don't get them right, your books are in big trouble.
Gotcha. And for it's tagged for the BC users. How about does anybody who is like using GP and considering going to BC, it's a good session for them to sit in and join?
100% if you're considering that move, because it will be very different from what you're used to in GP. So this will give you a really nice little look inside of that. So good stuff.
Awesome. And let's see what you got here. First time DynamicsCon speaker, huh?
Yeah, so it's weird for me. Like I said, I've been in the channel over 20 years. I was at the very first Directions, if you know what that conference is. But
Yep.
this is my first time. I know it's a newer conference, and I'm just super excited to not only get one session, but two. I was nominated for one of the superhero awards, which is a huge honor for me. So I can't tell you how excited I am to be at this conference.
Awesome. So if people they have a lot of sessions, so not everybody can attend every session. They may have to pick between one or the other. these sessions aren't recorded, but you'll be around. Will you be around all through Friday?
I am around all week long. I'm actually flying in on Monday, going to a baseball game Monday night. So I am there all week. I have plenty of time. I'm on the conference app, so you can find me and we can book some time. Happy to answer any questions or just say hi.
Good deal. And do you have a booth in the expo hall?
No, I don't have a booth this year. Again, first timer, so seeing how it all goes and maybe
Yep.
next year.
Good deal. Well, the lunch areas are always a good place for people to congregate. Plenty of tables in those areas. Hallways are usually very popular for all meeting spaces, so you'll have plenty of room to meet up with people before or after these sessions.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yep. So that is your Thursday session there. I'll be glad to come back to this one if you want to. But on Friday, the 16th, you have another session. That's the morning session at 10:15. That one you're presenting as well, solo. Dimensions are power. Make them work for you. And this is for the BC group, functional and intermediate levels.
Yeah, this one,
So you got
I put intermediate only because I kind of hope that folks who come to the session already know what I mean by dimension in Business Central. We'll probably do a quick intro if somebody's not quite sure. But the intent of this session is to really let you hopefully see some things that you can do with dimensions that you haven't really thought of, or just really understand the value that they can bring. So again, those folks moving from GP to Business Central or considering that move, this is a good educational session to kind of learn all of these things that you can do. We'll go through the various reporting tools that are available, how to really make the most of these. Again, we'll have some tips and tricks for using them successfully. But really, it's all about making sure you fully embrace dimensions, and I think it's one of the most powerful parts of the system. So to not use them seems crazy to me. So I always promote dimensions with
yeah.
all my clients.
And whenever I work with BC, dimensions to me apply to the financial statements. So posting dollars, seeing the accounts, or dimensions inside BC is what I interpret this as. Are there other dimensions I'm not thinking about, or is it applying to the chart of account dimensions?
Well, you are missing out. Those same
Oh,
dimensions that
okay.
you use on the chart of accounts can be used throughout the rest of the system. And that's exactly what I want folks to know. Because, like you just said, it's not just a tool for financials. You can do some really cool operational reporting and get some additional analysis on the rest of the system. So, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to hit on.
Good. And when people are setting up dimensions, I mean, this stuff has to be set up before they actually start using BC, so during the implementation phase, or is it pretty easy to add these later on after they've got BC up and running and they're actually using it already?
Great question. You can set them up after you've already been using Business Central. You just have to remember the dimensions are going to be in place from that point forward. So if you tried to look at dimensions on reporting that was a year ago before you had the dimensions, you won't be able to do that. But it's from that point
Correct.
forward,
Yep.
you can set them up super easy to go forward with that. So it's always nice to get them early in the implementation. And that is
Yep.
something we talk significantly about when we're trying to help design the system. But add them anytime.
Awesome. And when you think about the audience that you're targeting for the BC people here, um, are you aiming for the partner slash consulting side of it? Aiming for the end users, or a good mix of those two? Do you have a target audience in mind?
This is a good mix. If you're a newer consultant and you're kind of just getting your first few implementations under your belt, or maybe you've done a dozen or so, but I think you'll get some benefit from that. also the end user market. If you're not using dimensions today, or if you are just using them with your chart of accounts, you can learn some things to really take that and go a little bit further. My goal would be this is helpful for everyone.
Mhm.
I have heard from some of the newer consultants that they think there are some limitations to dimensions. That's kind of not true. So I'm hoping to erase some of those myths that might be out there.
Okay. So yeah, there's everybody's always a little fearful when they go from one ERP to another. It's a big step for any client out there. So the fears if of what might be different or what might be missing from one application to the new one is always on everyone's mind. So anything to help alleviate those concerns, all the better.
I 100% agree. And, fear is a huge driver. I know that. I've done implementations, like I said, for over 20 years now. I've seen everybody be afraid, but education is the key. Make sure you're learning just as much as you possibly can, to be able to understand what you have available. And something like this in Business Central with dimensions, it's something folks don't necessarily understand the power when they first get started. And so they need a little bit more of that education as they go to really help them get the biggest benefit from the system.
Hmm. Yep. And you mentioned, I don't know if I should mention this, but I'll bring it up. I think you mentioned before we started the call that you were working on the MVP status.
Yeah, I have a goal. This is something that, yeah, this is something I wanted to do years ago, but I always worked for larger partners, and the days were just way too busy to really give back to the community. I've been a part of this community for such a long time. I love the people. So being an MVP and being able to contribute like that is just super special. And something that I'm working on. So
Nice. Okay, great. And when you talk about your Elliott Clark Consulting is the firm you work with, right? Is that your company?
that is my company. So, as I mentioned, I've worked for a number of the larger partners over the years. And last year, I decided, gosh, if I'm going to keep working 16 and 18-hour days, I'm going to do it for me. And so I started
Awesome.
Elliott Clark Consulting, and we're a boutique firm. We specialize in helping small to mid-sized manufacturers and distributors. Sort of our claim to fame is we're going to help you find more profit by making your processes more efficient. Sometimes it's via technology, sometimes it's just through process improvements. And so I'm a manufacturing girl at heart. That's what I've done my entire career. So that's where we focus. And like I said, boutique company today, but we're growing super fast, and happy to talk to anybody who has a little bit of interest in Business Central, or just any questions on the manufacturing portion of the product as well.
Awesome. Good deal there. So, two great sessions you've got coming up that Thursday and Friday. You have a free day on Wednesday, but you'll be there so people could meet with you on Wednesday before the sessions even start, correct?
100%. Yeah, we have I'll actually be there Tuesday. If somebody's coming in early, there's a marketing for partners sessions going on that day. Wednesday, I think sessions do start. I'll be learning myself, and visiting some of those others. But if anybody wants to reach out, connect with me on LinkedIn, connect with me on the app. And if you see me in the hallway, just grab and say hi.
Awesome. And uh, your ball game, who are you pulling for?
Well, so I'm a diehard Atlanta Braves fan. Um, But I mean, who's going to pass up a chance to go to Wrigley, right? We're
Yeah,
actually going to be in the rooftop, but I'll watch the Cubbies. There's a player for the Cubs named Dansby Swanson who was in Atlanta for years, so I'll pull for him.
good, awesome. Okay. And I had been to two of the Braves games at the new stadium. I remember the old one that was just south of downtown. The new stadium is kind of north west, well outside of the city, but a very nice stadium up there for that one. I don't know if you've been to the new one yet.
Well, So we actually split time between Florida and Atlanta. When I said I drove today, that's where I drove from. So we're partial
Oh,
season ticket holders. I go to about 20 games a year. I love the new stadium. I liked the old Turner Field, but it's super fun at the new one. If you haven't been, it's an experience. There's something called the Battery right outside with shops and restaurants and
yep.
loads of fun before you even get into the stadium. So I like it a lot.
Awesome. All right, well, I'll start wrapping up this session with you here, everybody. Stephanie's got these 2 sessions for you to join her with on Thursday of next week, 8:30 in the morning. Mission critical keys to successful inventory costing in BC. And then on Friday, she has another session for 10:15 that morning. Dimensions are power. Make them work for you. So 2 great sessions for the BC crowd. Be sure to catch those if you can fit those into your schedule. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining me today. It's great to have people like you join us and share their knowledge and share their enjoyment, really, of working in this community. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
All right, everybody have a great travel to Chicago and look for Stephanie when you're up there. Have a good weekend. That wraps up this podcast for Dynamics Weekly. I'm glad you could join me. As always, send me your comments. Good and bad comments are welcomed, but constructive comments are preferred. Likes, shares, and reposts are appreciated. Subscribes are awesome as well. You can subscribe to Dynamics Weekly, the newsletter on LinkedIn, and you can subscribe to the podcast directly on YouTube. Thank you, and have a great week in Chicago at DynamicsCon.